Social media and network news is bombarding us with opinions and complaints that are wrongly reported as news. Those complaining are only increasing fear and contribute nothing. These smug, unqualified sources second-guess everything. They point out would-haves, could-haves, should-haves, quoting statistics out of context about which we can do nothing but worry. This whining is making news boring, unwatchable, and bordering on terrorism. Any good news is quashed for being overly optimistic, quickly pointing out small technical details to criticize. This virus is just another cause that adds to the 9,000 Americans that die every day. Once this stabilizes, we must put on our grown-up underwear and face reality. There are only two paths in life that always end up at the same place. We will die healthy or we will die poor. If we want to die healthy, we individually decide to let nature take its course and spend only on those things that sustain and entertain us. We would use our own resources to prolong our life beyond that which caused most people to die. If we decide not to use our own money for extraordinary medical and technological advances, it's our choice. If we want to die poor, we would decide to spend our last dime to prolong our life, using all our technological advances available regardless of the cost. This is the free market in action, and we have the right to decide how we spend our own money. The inevitable outcome is exactly the same. Death will take longer, but the last check we write will bounce. Our country needs to return to work and have some sort of sense of normality. We need to gather and socialize again. We need to be self-sufficient and realize that we cannot depend on the government for everything. We must each decide how we want to die, healthy or poor. Sadly, this virus will affect everyone sooner or later, and a small percentage will not survive. We must cherish the time we have. Many will not even know they've contracted the virus. Most will build up an immunity, and those who do survive will want something to which they can return. The question we must ask is, when is enough enough? How much spending is too much? What is the trigger that will start the country and the economy moving again? When do we stop overreacting? How few deaths are acceptable? And that answer is not zero. This virus is attacking those who are the most vulnerable, those on treatments with compromised immune systems, or are using special medications, had operations and transplants that gave them a little bit more borrowed time. Now nature is doing its cruel thing by calling the weaker ones. We are living longer because of technological advances gives us more borrowed time, avoiding that which kills us before. Most of us are living on some sort of borrowed time. This virus is just another way of natural selection interfering with the amount of borrowed time we have. It is part of life. We don't want the cure to be worse than the disease. There are no sure things in life except death. There will always be risks. We can't shut down the country permanently. We take risks and deal with what happens and what we are given. This is what makes America great. It is never what happens, but how we deal with what happens. The longer we delay restarting the country, the longer it will take to return to normal. It's the option that we must take. This is Keith Kuby wishing you the best in making the world a better place.